Are you ready for the PATS Nation? The only real deal Patriot postgame show. And now, CORSO CATONE.
Welcome into the PATS Nation, the real Patriots post-game show presented by CORSO CATONE. Week 2 of the NFL season sees the Patriots go to New York and beat them 25-6 to go 1-1 on the season, and probably more importantly, 1-1 in the division. Chris Corso alongside of Mark Catone. And Mark, are you excited? Are you excited now? Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm happy, Chris. Listen, we need to win.
Wait, are you ready to go?
Of course I'm ready to go.
Right.
I'm ready to go
Okay.
since last night.
Well, I appreciate that, pal, because we got a lot of things to unwrap today, along with the offense, defense, and coaching breakdown. We got Mac Mania, got our Sunday stiff, and, of course, Brady versus Belichick, and your chat, your call. Joe Goneri, our producer's got us up on YouTube with the live chat going, so we want to hear from you. And also, give us a call, 855-313-PATS, 855-313-7287. And since Mark is so excited, revved, and rearing to go, let's get right into Mac Mania. Joe? Okay, Mark, listen, Mac Jones today, our Mac Mania segment here. Give me your thoughts. I mean, he's 22 of 30 for 186 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, probably more importantly. But what did you think of his performance today?
Yeah, more importantly, Chris, I didn't think he made any big mistakes, right? You're on the road. You're playing a team that you probably should beat. Don't make mistakes. And he took what the defense gave him. And again, I'm going to question a little bit of McDaniels' play calling because I still don't think he's setting the kid totally up to be successful. But I thought he did what he had to do, Chris. No interceptions. Didn't make any big mistakes. Maybe he still could get the ball out a little quicker. He took a couple of hits and sacks today again that I think maybe he could get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. But listen, in my opinion, he had a real good game again, Chris, doing what he's asked to do. Mistake-free football and do what you got to do to win a football game.
Yeah, and I mean, he did that. To me, like you say, he's taken, by the way, Mark, you like my shirt?
I like that, Joe. I got a question for you, though, Chris. You didn't wear that shirt during the game.
This is my game. I've had for years.
Because you had that red one you've had about 40 years.
I have. And listen, I was going to wear that again this year, tradition, of course, but my kids for Christmas said, it's enough with that red shirt now. And they gave me this with red shorts to go with it. If you noticed last week I didn't wear it. I will only wear this shirt when they win. That's when they win. To the post-game show. I'll only wear it when they win on the Pats Nation post-game. But, Mark, I agree with you. Listen, he took what they gave him, right? In the first half, too, he was 17 of 20 for 142 yards. Yeah, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But he managed it well, and I think that's all we can ask for him, right?
Chris, 2 weeks he's played 2 division games, no interceptions. I mean, I think that's big, Chris. 2 division games, no interceptions. You're a rookie. I mean, he's giving he's taking what they're giving him. Listen, I'm impressed with the kid, Chris.
7 different receivers. I mean, where did we hit? When's the last time we heard that? Well,
I don't know. I might have heard that at some point in the past. I don't know who did that. I don't know.
Yeah, and look, it was 01, 03, and we'll get to him later. 01, 03, 04,
well, Chris,
02,
he's still
that's when he was doing that.
Of what he did then. No mistakes. Don't turn the ball over. Take what's given to you. When you got a shot to put it in the end zone, you put it in the end zone. But stay, and then your defense is going to do what our defense did today. But we'll get to the defense a little later. And that's what Jones did. So, listen, what he's doing out there, Chris, Cam Newton was not capable of taking what the defense gave him because he couldn't make all those throws. And I think that's why they made him the starting quarterback over Cam. He's showing you that the first 2 weeks, Chris. Yeah, he understands what he's reading.
Yeah, and I don't think Cam Newton would have completed some of those passes. The only thing I will say about Jones today is there were a couple of times that he made a couple of bad throws. But look, Mark, he only missed on what is this? He only missed on what? 8 passes So, I mean, he threw the ball 30 times and missed on 8 passes, and he got pissed at himself, too, towards the end of that game where he was rolling out and he hit and he short hopped Bourne or Myers to get the first down, and he was irritated. But I think if you have any criticism of him, took a couple of sacks. Now, I don't know what was downfield. So it could be actually a compliment versus an insult, right?
Yeah, could be. Now, Chris, on one play, now I don't know because of course they didn't show the replay. So you're going to have to trust the imbeciles that they got in these booths, right? On CBS, the imbeciles
People
up there.
They don't even show replays, Mark.
No, listen.
When you need
but
that PI down the sideline. Go ahead.
One of the plays, I think it was on the one of the gadget plays where the ball got thrown back to him, whatever. He threw it to a tight end. And according to the booth, they said he had Aguilar open for a touchdown if he looked up and went deep. But he took the safe route, got the first down. It was like a 9-10 yard gain, got a first down. But they said he had Aguilar open for a touchdown. I don't know if that's true. If it is, I'm sure he'll see it in the film and he'll be pissed off at himself. But I don't even know if that's true, Chris, because they don't show you a replay.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If you're going to make those kind of comments, your color guy is going to say, "Oh, you know, you had Aguilar down the field."
Yeah,
show the friggin' replay. So
I was waiting for the replay to see it, and then I'm like, okay, well, how do I know if he's even telling the truth? If he even knows he's talking about this color guy?
Listen, and there was PI on the first drive. I felt on the sidelines, and they didn't show that either. But again, he definitely outplayed Wilson. Hey, did you hear the booze coming from the New York faithful?
Wilson
over there.
Oh, was that Wilson or was that Drew Lock?
Yeah, I know, or Sanchez, or Donald, or Ken O'Brien,
I'm not talking Jets quarterback. You know why I said Drew Lock, because that's who I compared him to coming out of the draft, and I said the kid isn't worth the number 2 pick.
And I think they won today, Denver today again. So listen, in comparison, 19 of 33, 210 yards, 4 interceptions. Mark, what's his pass? What if you calculate? What's the passer rating for that?
37, Chris. 37. That's going to be one of the lowest in the history in any game in the last 10 years. 37 passer rating?
I don't know. I think I threw for worse at some point in my life. You know? You
couldn't. You are like a broken down horse. You couldn't throw the ball.
I can't throw the ball from here to there. You know, forget it. You know, but
you had a percentage on your feed yesterday. You were way below 37. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I was at like 4%. You know, does it look better today though?
Yeah, that's his job, though. To feed, isn't that the producer's job? The feed.
Well, you know what? They won the game today, so we'll
go to space and come back. There's nothing I can do. We got asteroids out there. It's planets. Jupiter's in retrograde this time.
There we go with that.
Retrograde.
But you know what? you know something. We'll just, let Joe, come be defensive. Mark, when somebody's really defensive, and I know this because this is what I do, when somebody's extra defensive, what's that tell you?
Oh, yeah. Guilty of sin.
Listen,
Chris, Mac Jones, though, I think, hey, listen, another solid game, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's
Chris, he does a good job of play action. Chris, he does a good job of play action, too. Really, he gets you to bite. He really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And some of those are really, the way he hit that ball on some of those.
That's what I mean.
Really good. And he threw another long pass, and I think it was it Myers down the sideline or Aguilar? I'm one of those, but he threw a nice long pass, put it right in the bread bag. I think it was Myers. Put it right in the bread basket. So he has those flashes. And I think if they took the training wheels off a little more,
Chris, imagine if he had imagine if he had a real number 1 receiver to take the training wheels off.
Well, let's get to that right now. Listen, Mac Mania was brought to us by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success. Mac Mania. So, Mark, getting to the rest of the offense, let's start there because I know you're not happy. You're not happy with the receivers in general, but particularly Bourne today, right?
Chris, they gave him a good amount of money, Chris. What does he give you? They're trying to use him like Edelman. They're trying to run that. He's not Edelman. So forget, he's not Edelman. If they haven't figured that out yet, then they got a problem, Chris. I don't know what Bourne gives you that you paid all that money for him. I'm not impressed at all with that kid. Are you?
No, I mean, they gave him 3 attempts. He caught 2 for 10 yards. Okay, so everything was kind of underneath. And then there was that play. It just looked ugly. where he dropped the ball or it was an incomplete pass, and it's just he's kind of mulling around out there. And I'm not sure what
he got the 15 yards on the end around, right? They did that end around. He got the 15 yards. He got the first down, and that was really his highlight of the game. But he,
Mark, you could have got 15 yards on that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
15 yards in an oxygen tank, but I would have got the 15 yards. You're right. I would have got it.
But listen, and the reason I'm looking down is because I'm looking at the stats. We talk about the receiving core, and you're right. I mean, you're dead on. I mean, can you imagine this kid with Metcalf if they
God.
or Brown that went to Tennessee?
Even Debo Samuel last week at San Fran had 180 yards receiving, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Come on.
So again, I mean, Jacoby Myers was 4 catches on 6 attempts. Aguilar 3, but Myers was for 38 yards, and one of those was that play I just mentioned. Aguilar 3 catches on 3 attempts for only 21 yards. Okay, Bourne, as I said, 2 catches, 3 attempts, 10 yards. So those are your receivers right there. Okay, so that's just not good enough. I mean, it's not good enough.
Well, then you look at the kid's stats.
68, 69 yards.
Chris, then you look at the kid's stats, and you're like, well, he didn't throw a touchdown. Well, Jesus, who's he going to throw a touchdown to? Look at the receivers. Who's catching the ball? How many, Chris? How many balls did the tight ends catch today?
So you had Hunter Henry, 4 attempts, 2 catches. Jonnu Smith, 4 catches on 5 attempts, and both of them combined for 40, 68, 70 yards total.
For six receptions for how many yards total?
Like 70 yards total.
Yeah, now what do we got? The money we got invested in tight ends?
Well, I mean, Mark, if this was not a game of check down, I mean, you had James White catch 6 balls on 6 attempts for 45 yards. Look, not one guy on this team, not one receiver, whether it be a back or a wideout, had more than 50 yards total in their catches. 45, 42, 38, 20. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's a check down situation. He's just
Chris,
taking.
You have to go to check down situations when your receivers can't get separation and can't get open. So what else do you do? At least he's smart enough. Unlike Newton last year, when Newton would hold on to the ball and take a sack or have to or get a negative play, the kid is at least smart enough to realize, okay, there's no separation, bang, and he gets rid of it quick, and that impresses me. So he checks down, Chris, which is what he's supposed to be doing. But he's quick enough to understand, I got to check down quickly if I'm going to get any positive yards out of this play, because there's nothing there, because your receivers, they're awful.
They need a down. And I really thought Aguilar would be a little more in the deep. But Mark, I don't know that Belichick and McDaniel are allowing for that right now.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, that could be true too, Chris. That could be true.
But normally with play action, doesn't it let that lend? And he's good at it, like you said. Doesn't it lend itself to deep downfield throws?
Well, Chris, I think if you watched on a couple of them on the play action, he did look up and down the field. Whoever was supposed to be there wasn't open, and then he went underneath. But I think his initial, if you go back and look at the tape, the game film, I think his initial look was downfield. He's not there, and he went underneath because the receiver can't get open. They can't separate downfield, Chris.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
And you're absolutely right. And so I think you're right. Until they get a 1, and until they get
Chris,
a 1,
this kid showed you what he could do in Alabama if you gave him some receivers. The kid can get the ball where it needs to be and make the right decision. It's just a matter of getting him the weapons to do that. Now you got a quarterback who needs weapons. Newton, okay, fine. And my question is this to you, Chris. Did we think that this was going to be Newton's offense for a year? So this is the weapons we surrounded him with, because he really wasn't going to be able to throw the ball all over the field. This kid can. So, but maybe they didn't plan on this kid having because you had brought this up back in the spring when we were signing these guys, Chris. Maybe they didn't anticipate him having the range to this quickly. Yeah,
and that would tight ends. They won't pay all the money to tight ends, running backs. Good offensive line. We'll get to the offensive line in a second, but the offensive line play, I think you're right. But so, okay, then why the hell aren't you using the tight ends?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hunter Henry got some play in the second half. He came to light. I said, geez, it was a Hunter Henry sighting in the second half.
He caught that ball down the seam, Chris. That was nice. He caught that ball down the seam. which was
So,
a nice catch.
I
And that
think
play should be open, Chris. If the way we run the ball with play action and that ball down the seam to Henry, Chris, that ball should be there at least once a game. I have to believe he'll be able to break loose once a game. With the type of offense we're running.
it should be. You're talking about that seam route?
The seam route, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, they Jonnu
Chris,
Smith too, but
I thought Jonnu Smith, Chris, I don't know if he's hurt. I thought they were going to use him a little bit more like they used to use Aaron Hernandez.
Well, they had him listed on the injury report. To be honest, I didn't really see. He didn't practice on Friday. So I said to you yesterday on the show, CORSO CATONE, the real deal New England feel. But Joe, how about that cheap plug right there? So,
hey, buddy, we need it.
Hey, it's it. I told you yesterday that if you don't practice on Friday, you usually don't play on Sunday. But he was out there, so I guess that shows something on him that you came out anyway and played. But they're going to have to get both of them more involved. And Mark, with the running game, I mean, they rebounded. Harris had 16 carries for 62 yards, 3.9. So he's right at that 4. White, who I know, I know where this is going with you. So we'll get there in a second with your guy versus that guy. But White had 5 carries for 20 yards, 4 yards a carry. White did it all in the passing game. He was 6 catches. And that's where he did it all. Bourne, you said, had that 16-yard. And then J.J. Taylor had 2 rushes for 3 yards. But I think, and let me take a look. No, he didn't have a, he didn't have a catch. So, Mark, I know. Well, go ahead. I know what you're going to say
Chris,
here.
Listen,
So
I just don't listen. The kid showed you so much explosiveness in the preseason. I told you during the game, Chris. I just don't think they want to go to him yet because once you do, he's got an allegiance to James White. White's a veteran. He's been a warrior for this team for 7-8 years. I get it. I understand it. But at some point, the touches you're giving White, you got to give to Taylor because Taylor will break 50, 60 yards. White's not giving you that anymore. Taylor will run away from somebody. White can't run away from anybody anymore, Chris. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to be steady. He'll get you 7-8 yards a chunk here, 10, 12, maybe whatever. Taylor is just explosive. Whenever he gets on the field, he's got a burst of energy. He's got a burst. He can run. At some point, Belichick's going to have to make the switch and give the ball to Taylor and leave White on the sidelines and give Taylor his reps. Because if Taylor gets the reps, Chris, you're not going to see you'll see White get phased out because this kid is. You've talked about this. He's like a Darren Sproles. He's like a Deion Lewis. Yeah. He's one of those guys. A Westbrook. He just needs touches, and you need to integrate him into the game.
Yeah, you saw that in the fourth quarter too. I mean, he takes that ball to the edge, and he's just got a burst. He takes it through that C gap and boom, he's gone. Yeah, it's a trust factor right now. It's a complete trust factor. And you know how Belichick is. He doesn't. And also what people don't consider is the blitz pickup. So, James White, you're going to get that good blitz pickup, especially during a play action pass, which they seem to want to do all day today. So
and Chris,
when you're play
that's
action,
a good point.
They're coming off the edge. Your back is turned. Mac Jones' back may be turned to the line, away from the line and not see it. And you need a guy there that can pick up that blitz. I'm just so happy we didn't see my favorite guy today.
Oh, we did see him. We saw him in the kickoff.
I didn't see him. I was doing this. I chose not to.
We saw him in the kicking game. Your buddy.
Yeah. Explain that to me. Explain to me why. And I don't have a lot of notes on the special teams today other than that. Why? What? In fact, you put McCourty back there at the end. Why, Mark? Why isn't Taylor getting play back there?
I don't know. He played the whole preseason back there, Chris. He was getting to the 35, 40-yard line every time the ball was kicked back there to him. If he finds a little seam, he picks up 10, 12 yards like in a burst. So I don't know what the point is of not putting him back there. They did it in the preseason. Now all of a sudden they're putting Bolden back there. And like you said, McCourty, I just don't understand sometimes what Belichick thinks about on special teams. I don't know.
A trust factor?
I guess. I
mean, the guys that are gonna, but how can you trust?
Taylor didn't fumble the ball in preseason.
No, and how can you trust? How can you trust Bolden after last week taking it 5 yards into the end zone out? What the hell? I mean, how can you now? That guy shouldn't see the field again, right?
No, I agree.
Taylor can handle it. He can do it, and he's got all that speed. If you're going to put a running back out there, back of there anyway, why not be Taylor?
Well, Taylor's got a shot.
Yeah,
Yeah, Taylor's got a shot if he gets a seam. He could take it, or he could take it to the house. Bolden ain't running away from anybody taking anything anywhere. Like I don't even understand it.
Bolden runs as fast as the first car I ever had in high school when I got my license. A gold Dodge Reliant. That's about, you'd step on the gas on that thing, Mark, and it would go like it wouldn't move. That's Bolden. That's that
Dodge Reliant. What the hell?
Dodge Reliant.
Are you kidding me?
Gold color. I destroyed that car. So,
was that before you went into the tree, it didn't move, or afterwards?
Joe, are we really going to tell that story right now? So you can see everybody out there can see that we've known the three of us have known each other for very, 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 very long time. And
Dodge Reliant. Oh, good.
Yeah, Dodge Reliant. I backed that into a tree right outside of Joe's house when I was because when you're a kid, and don't do this out there, don't try this at home. When you're a kid and you first start driving, right? You get in the car, you just pedal goes to the floor, right? That's probably why my father bought me that piece of crap. I don't know. Mark, what was your first car?
I had a 1977 black Grand Prix with red leather seats.
Joe, tell him about the Omni. Tell him about the Mark. Tell him about the Dodge Omni. That was a 78.
See, I never really drove the car, but it was 78. Yeah, it was two-tone. And I don't think the silver was silver. It was just metal and like
no muffler.
No muffler. And but the
doors didn't open, Mark. The doors didn't open. You had to get through like one door open, or you had to go through the window like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Chris, I had after the black Grand Prix, I had a Buick Regal. I used if the temperature went below 10 degrees, the horn would beep. I had to disconnect the horn. It would just stop beeping. As soon as it went below 10 degrees, the horn beep. I waved to everybody going down. I had to pull the horn out. Chris,
we've got, you know what, Joe, we've gone completely sideways on all this.
That's the best
today.
Part of it all.
But
wait, you got to tell them the best part about the Omnis. Like, it didn't have a key. It was a screwdriver. Was the key.
That's right.
The start was with the screwdriver.
And believe me, it was. Nobody was stealing that car, so it's not like we stole it. We're using the screwdriver, to start the thing. That was a piece of junk, that car. Please. But anyway. Getting back, can everybody out there tell the difference? You don't even have to look at the score to know what happened in the Patriots game. Just watch this show. You can just see it in Mark and I, Yeah. So Mark, let's getting back to the offense.
The running backs, Chris, I thought, played okay. I don't know why he's not using Stevenson more.
Well, he made him inactive today.
Because why? Because he fumbled last week, Chris?
Yeah, that 1964 crap of coaching where, you know what, we're going to put you on the bench and make you earn back your playing time because you I don't even think that was a fumble.
You know what, that pisses me off, Chris, because that wasn't a fumble. I told you they showed the replay. I saw it on Twitter. That was not a fumble. He was down by contact. They blew that call, and now you put the kid on the bench? You made him an active?
Yeah, I mean, that whole Belichick doghouse thing. I mean, that's been overplayed. That's done, in my opinion. I'm not in this day and age. Not with these kind of players. These guys, listen, Mark. These guys are trying. They're not. They work their ass off all week. It's not like they're going out there just and have memory loss. I'm going to memory gaps. I mean, it's not like false starts, pre-snap penalties. That's the crap. That's the shit you can't live with.
And Chris, if you're inside the red zone, who's better than that kid Stevenson? He's like a battering ram. How do you not have him
in the red zone? And
in the
Mark,
red zone,
that you couldn't possibly segue better into that issue, because the big note I have right here, okay, for the game, red zone play calling, second week in a row. It's Mark. I mean, they put it in the end zone. I get it a couple of times, but Mark, the thing, how many times did they score? Talk about the red zone offense.
Well, Chris, first of all, I think it was third down from like the 11 or 12, and he did I don't know if it was might have been early in the third quarter, and he does the check down to White, but it wasn't even a check down, Chris. I think that was the play call. Like, where did you think that was going? He wasn't scoring on that. You mean to tell me you can't get a tight end or a wide receiver open in the end zone, or at least attempt it. I mean, I don't understand what the call was.
Well, with the damn with the tight ends they have too, a
That's what I
fade to
don't
the
get,
back of the
Chris.
end zone. Listen, I don't know, and I'm trying to find.
Maybe
how many
they're
times
waiting.
they were
Maybe
down in
they're
the red
waiting,
zone.
Chris, for Week 5 when Harry comes back. They're waiting for Harry. Harry's going to be the
You had to go.
savior.
You know,
Yeah,
I was
Harry.
Joe. I was waiting. Joe and I had a little bet off camera as to how many games would it take you to bring Harry up.
Yeah.
I had under.
Joe, Joe, the night of the draft, this imbecile's telling me, oh, I like him. I had him on my sheets. What sheets? You had to be blind to have him on your sheets. Blind.
Your son was screaming at the TV about Metcalf, about not taking, because Metcalf dropped, you remember? So they could have had him. I can't find how many times we were in the red zone, but what I can find is Folk accounted for 12 points. He was 4 for 4. And so that means he only scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's it. And he missed
they had the 2
point.
running touchdowns. One of them was White, and one of them was that great run by Harris, Chris.
Oh, my God.
That an incredible run.
At the end, yeah. He just
What did he
took
break?
people
7
with him.
tackles, 8 tackles?
Yeah, he just took people with him into the end zone, which is why
he bounced off 7 or 8 guys. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
It was like,
and that's Mark's guy. That's Mark's guy. That's a guy you had, that's a guy you had. But when they drafted him, you loved him. So, again, I told you, I think he's a guy that could possibly end up leading the league in rushing only because they're going to run the ball so much, and he's explosive. But yeah, Mark, they're down in the red zone. When you get 4 turnovers, and I don't know if they fumbled the ball. I don't think so. I think it was all in. I think it was all in interceptions. Because there were no fumbles.
It was all Wilson.
Yeah, so they 4 times. Now we look like they don't have it, but only fumbles lost. But we put the ball on the ground once.
Yeah, we recovered it.
Mac Jones did it.
Yeah,
that's the only criticism of him is that's 2 games in a row now.
2 games in a row, he's put the ball on the ground. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So he's going to clean that up.
You know what it is, though, Chris? Our running game, you just got to run around the right side. You got that.
Again,
the right side of our line is so good.
Oh, please. You know what? So yeah, the red zone play calling sucks. It's got to get better. 4 turnovers. You should have more than 16 points off those turnovers. My Mark. And I think this is probably going to come up in a later segment, but gee, Mark, the offensive line. What were we saying? I mean, we look stupid because
we said the 2 strengths of this team were offensive line and running backs with the
running backs. And so far, the back cost us the game last week, and the friggin' right side of the offensive line almost cost us a quarterback today. I mean, he's getting hit 9 times last game, and however many times he got hit in this game. Sacks, I mean, Mark, talk about that. Why are they having such a problem right now?
Well, first of all, what are they? They're using a 3rd string right tackle, right? Trent Brown, and then the guy, I don't know who that kid was they had in. Then they put him on the bench, and then the kid that they replaced him with ended up getting nicked up. I don't know if he came back in the game or what. But the right tackle position, Chris, they're down to their 3rd right tackle. I mean, and we were supposed to have a lot of depth on the offensive line, but I don't know where the depth is because the right tackle, Chris, is like, but that's also to your theory, Chris. When a guy like that goes out, it throws off your whole line because now Andrews has sputtered a little bit too. You're getting pressure up the middle on some plays too, Chris, where Andrews isn't typically giving you the protection that he usually gives you.
Yeah, they had 3 sacks today, the Jets. So 3 sacks, and one of them was that they coughed up that ball. But yeah, I mean, Mark, it's got to get better. They got to get Brown back. I mean, they ruled him out yesterday but after we did the show, because on Friday they brought him out there and they let him, So yeah, the offensive line, Mark, has to get much, much, much better. And again, the red zone coaching and
Chris, they didn't play a good. I don't think the Jets really have a good defense.
No, I think the Jets are a terrible team. They're the Jets. They're the friggin' Jets, Mark. The Jets suck, and they're always going to suck. So, but listen, it's good to get back to 1-1, especially 1-1 in the division. So, when we come back, we want to get into the other side of the ball. I mean, we have some good things to talk about today for them. So, more on the defense right after this.
How do I get to the point where I understand my passion enough to communicate outward and dial myself in so that I can craft my own sauce. But you don't have anyone that's going to give you the right advice. Now you do. We've been discussing where we live and what areas do we want to always talk about. And really, it's startup, it's finance, and drop. We are Special Sauce Podcast.
Back in with more Pats Nation, the real Patriots postgame show. Joe, as Joe always says, it's the only one worth watching. And Mark, let's get to the defense. By the way, just so you know, Mr. Brady so far, and they just started the second quarter, is 10 of 15 for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. So.
Well, it's
Mark.
funny you say that, Chris. I was just responding to my son who's away at college. He's texting me. He said Brady and Gronk. He said Gronk looks like his old self, and Brady looks like he's 30.
That's fantastic. You know what though? We're not gonna let it kill our mood today. We're not gonna let that happen today. We're moving forward, right? Nope. Yeah. Mark, the defense. You know what? Let's start with the good. Okay, we got to start with the good, the bad, and then we get to some of the ugly too. But Mark, the good was the secondary. I mean, I thought they bounced back. Last week, I thought they had an uneven game. The stats didn't show it.
Oh, they did.
But, Mark, 4 picks.
And, Chris, it wasn't even the picks. It was Phillips and Duggar. They were exactly where they were supposed to be, Chris.
All over the field.
All over the field. Whether they had to seal the edge, whether they had to fill a hole where running back was coming through. And yeah, obviously, Phillips had the 2 picks. But those 2 guys, Chris, were everywhere they were supposed to be. They were there today, and they were making the plays. And, the corners played well, but the safeties, Chris, really played well. And even McCourty, I think, had a much better game than he had last week, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, and Phillips had the 1, and J.C. Jackson had the 2. But because what you saw in that first one, and look, two, I would say 2 of the picks, the McCourty pick and probably 1 of the J.C. Jackson picks, that's on Wilson completely. A
couple of those balls, Chris, were ugly.
It wasn't really any. I mean, he threw the ball directly to McCourty.
Yeah.
So, and then, but a couple of those other picks, that's all defense, man. Those guys were swarming around the ball. That really nice one, that tip drill. One of them tipped it. Then McCourty actually pushed it, tipped it to his guy who he saw right there.
Oh, Chris, they practice that drill. Get me right? All practice that drill
all the time. It's a tip drill. It always, because you want to, as a defensive back, they call it high pointing the ball. You want to get up and get it at its high point because some of these receivers will just come over the top of it if you're waiting for it to come down. So no, I thought they played well. And again, that tip drill work, J.C. Jackson they got to pay him, man. They're going to have to pay him. He had a great game today. I mean, he really, really had a great game. I don't know how many tackles he had. Let's see. J.C. Jackson had 3, but he had the 2 picks. So, I mean, he had a fantastic game. McCourty rebounded from last week, and I thought he had a solid game.
Chris,
but you're right,
Phillips, right? My God. You know what rebounded today, too, Chris, was Hightower. Played better than last week. Last week, he was non-existent.
He did. I have a little bit of criticism for some of the linebackers. But I mean, with the secondary, it's
Chris,
there's not much more to say.
You didn't see much of today. I maybe we did, and I just didn't notice it. I think that he got himself in the doghouse last week was Joanne Williams.
I saw him in the second half. He made a couple of plays. I
didn't see him much.
Yeah, he didn't play as much
as last week. I don't think, Chris.
Well, he had 4 tackles.
Okay.
No assists, but it was a lot in the second half when I think the game was in hand.
The game was in hand, yeah.
But he also had a couple of boneheads today too. I thought in coverage because I mean there was some stuff in the second half where Wilson was rolling around, scrambling around, and just heaving that ball down the field, and Williams lost his guy. There was one play on the Patriots sideline in the second half. Do you remember this? Where Wilson. It was like a 3rd and long, whatever it was. Wilson launched that ball down the sidelines, and it looked like Williams was extending out, and it kind of went over him.
Yeah.
And he just that kind of play is what pisses me off about Wilson because honestly, you're supposed to stay in stride. You're supposed to stay in stride with the receiver and be on his hip. And if you can't feel him there, you're not covering him. That means he's just away from you. and then you cut it off and try to get high. It doesn't work that way. You got to take the extra steps and play
That's
him. I
the
mean,
basic
so
fundamentals of being a cornerback, isn't it, Chris?
it is. It is. My son does that.
That's what I was just going to say. Your son, you taught your son to do that at freaking 12 years old.
He's technically sound. He definitely is. But so, I mean, with the secondary, but Mark, you're right. They sealed the edge. They sealed the edge really, really well. It's just the linebackers at times didn't get up in there. So, and shifting over to there, your best friend on the I'm starting to think that you dislike this player. It's not to quite the level of Roberts yet.
No. Not to that level yet, Chris. Roberts.
But talk about the issue that talk about Bentley. Right
well,
now. He had a couple of good plays.
He had some good plays today, Chris, and he guessed right today. And the key word there is guessed. He guesses, what gap to try to fill, and he jumps the gap. And as Chris said, rather than trying to shed off the block and wherever the running back is going, seal it and hit it, he guesses. And if the running back goes up the other gap, he's gone. That's not what you look at it.
No, and if you look at his stat line, 6 tackles, 2 assists. It looks good. But some of those tackles are downfield.
Yeah.
But you're 1,000% right. You can't choose. You can't choose a gap. You don't look like a moron. Like last week, he chose that gap. The guy walked into the end zone. I mean, so yeah, I still have an issue with how Bentley played, even though he made a few good plays. McCourty once again.
You could get away with that in college, Chris, but in the NFL, you can't get away with that.
Yeah, and Hightower's numbers were 3 and 3. He had 3 tackles, 3 assists. I thought he rebounded pretty well today.
And considering Chris Van Noy was not in the game, right? So but Chris, who I didn't think had a good game. He didn't. He had one good play. He came off the edge. He forced Wilson to come up in the pocket, and he got a sack. The defensive lineman Davis ended up getting the sack. But Uche, I thought had a so-so game, very fair game. Nothing. He didn't. Other than that one play, he really didn't do anything. He didn't stand out at all today.
Well, he had 2 sacks. I mean, Uche had 3 tackles, 2 sacks.
Yeah, but Chris, weren't those sacks late when the game was kind of meaningless? The game was over.
And that's just what I was going to say. I mean, it was late in the game. He didn't see the field. You're right. He didn't see the field all that much. I don't know why he's not seeing that. But again, so Joe, what are we talking about here? Oh, he's talking about volume. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, Uche needs to get on the field more, I think, because I think I'd rather see him on the field than Winovich, don't you?
Yeah, I would rather see Uche on the field than Winovich. Winovich is a one, like you've said this week after week, Chris. Winovich is a one-trick pony. He's going to give you that edge rush. He's going to give you the same move. And if he gets by you. Where I think Uche has a hell of a lot more potential, Chris, to be able to seal the edge on a running play. He can cover tight ends. He's got more than just one move to get to the quarterback. You can slide him across the line. So I don't know why you would use Winovich over Uche.
I don't know. I'm not sure either. Winovich is a one-trick pony. He comes around the edge. He tries to bull rush, get underneath, take the 90-degree. I think I said this last week.
Yeah, you did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Last week about this guy. So, yeah, I'd like to see Uche play more. But Mark, when it comes to the linebackers, we talked about the secondary sealing, setting the edge. Basically, what that means is you have to force the running back inside. Everything goes inside. Nothing wants to get around to the edge. And the corners basically press that closed, or the defensive ends closer in the box. But they were doing that. Mark pointed that out. They were sealing the edge, but the linebackers weren't filling. They weren't coming up and filling. So naturally he cuts back and he goes up the field for 6 more yards, 7 more yards.
Chris, what was their average yards per carry, the Jets? Because you and I were talking during the game. It's got to be at least 5, we thought.
So the rushing was Carter. They were 28 for 133 yards. So, they averaged, if I look at this, 4.8, 4.2, 5.4. Yeah, they averaged like 4.5 yards a carry, or 5. That's too much.
That's too much.
You said it Mark was talking to me during the game, and he said it. He goes, every single time they touch the ball, it's 5 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards. You can't play like that. You've got to get these guys into longer yardage, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, 3rd and so
It didn't come back today to hurt you because the quarterback play for the Jets is putrid. But if you play a good team, Chris, you're giving up 4, 5, 6 yards of carry. You're going to get crushed.
Yeah,
You're not going to be able to do that.
So what's going on with the run? Let's get to that. What is happening?
Chris, the defensive line, they spent all that money on the defensive tackles. What happened to the center of that line today?
I thought Guy had a terrible game. Barmore, Gottschalk, they didn't have good games. They look like they're getting just put. And by the way, can we? Isn't enough now with the Dietrich Wise experiment?
That's your buddy, Dietrich Wise. That's your buddy.
Have we seen enough? He ain't my buddy. He ain't my friend. If he were my friend, he'd be a better football player. But the bottom line is, these guys are getting manhandled. Now, I know the offensive line for the Jets, they're big. They can push people around. But, Mark, you allow, like we talked about, 133 yards rushing,
Chris,
and that's
Guy had a terrible preseason. Remember, we talked about it after a couple of the preseason games. We're like, what the hell's going on with Guy? And we were like, well, he'll get going. We're hoping, but he hasn't, Chris.
Yeah.
He had a bad summer.
The whole front, they just get pushed around. And that's not something, I don't know. Is that something you can correct? I mean, because if you sell out, if you bring everybody into the box, tackle to tackle, 10 yards back, 8 yards back, whatever, with the linebackers. If you bring everybody in the box to sell out to stop the run, you're screwed on the play action. That's putting those defensive backs in a tough spot. They've got to be able to stop the run with their front four. They have to. Yeah. Right?
No, you're right. And they spent money on that, Chris. They brought in Gottschalk. They brought in the guy Davis. They re-signed Guy. They spent money to make sure that part of the line was solidified. And after the first 2 weeks, Chris, they don't look that great. No,
and I'll say Barmore can get better. I mean, but he will get better. He's a rookie.
Barmore's going to get better.
That's something to look forward to. But listen, Mark, they're going to have to play a lot better next week because that team's going to throw the ball over the field. Winston always throws for 20 yards.
And Kamara.
Right. But so that's the key. You stop the run. We don't get too much into that, but you stop the run. You make Winston throw the ball, and he will throw picks too, especially with our secondary. So, look, that's the breakdown. I mean, those are the things we see, good and bad. And as far as coaching goes, I thought the coaching was fine. And
the coaching was better, Chris. Coaching was better than it was last week.
When we come back, we're going to get into the Sunday Stiff and see who Mark has, who I have, and the Sunday Seat. Who gets to sit with us at the table? Who had a good game right after this?
It's that time again for a timeout from Pats Nation for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket, or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group. Now back to Pats Nation.
Final score again, Patriots go into New York and beat the Jets 25-6. To go to 1-1 on the season and 1-1 in the division.
Chris, I think I predicted 24 points yesterday on the show. I said 24-14. I was close, but I had the Patriots right on the number almost.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up because I had them at 35.
I was close. I said 24.
Well, the amount of times they got in the red zone, it should have been 25, but I had them scoring 6 to 10 more points to the Jets too. So both of us were wrong. 25-6. So, Mark, Sunday Stiff, we want to get into that. Joe, let's have it. Mark, I'll throw this over to you because I feel like you and I are probably going to. It's much more fun when we don't agree, but I think we're probably going to.
No, I think we agree today. Gee, Chris, I don't know. It might just have to be the right side of that offensive line, the right tackle position. Oh my God, Chris! You want to talk about a Sunday stiff? You said it earlier in the show, Chris. They're gonna get Jones hurt if they don't straighten out that side of the line of scrimmage, Chris. They're gonna get this kid hurt because you want to talk about Sunday stiff. There's the whole right side of the line after Andrews. I don't know. Abysmal. That was today's performance, Chris, was almost embarrassing.
It is.
Dante Scarnecchia must be sitting home hitting the bottle of bourbon watching this. Chris.
Yeah, I know. You can't possibly be happy. Belichick can't possibly be happy. And I didn't hear his post game. We came on before I could hear what he had to say. Probably not much. But you cannot be happy with the way that offensive line played today. And even win. And Mark, how about the penalties too? The penalties that are happening with that offensive line.
They had a nice offensive play, Chris. I think they gained like 15 yards, and I think it was J.J. Taylor, and it comes back because holding.
Right. They had 6 penalties, so they improved a little bit. They had 8 penalties last week, 6 penalties. But again, that right side, and Mark, they're not even giving him help.
No.
Like, they're not getting him any help out there. That dude was going around him all day long. And I give credit to Mac Jones for doing what he could to step up in the pocket. But they didn't give him a chip with a back. They didn't give him a tight end over there to help out a little bit.
They gave him nothing.
I mean, whoever that third guy is sucks. I don't even know his name.
I don't know his name.
I don't know his name.
Let me tell you something. They're bad. They're real bad. But I'll tell you something else, Chris. If you could have given out 2 Sunday stiffs, granted, it's going to be a Patriot. How about the kid Wilson from the Jets?
Oh, listen, you took this guy at number 2, the number 2, right? Number 2 pick in the draft.
Number 2 pick in the draft.
And you're 6 quarters in, and New York starting in a New York minute. You get thrown in the shit house in a New York minute, right? The boos were trickling down on that poor kid. 4 interceptions, and Mark, we talked about 2 of them were really on him, and even 3. I mean, that's a crap performance today.
It's a crap performance. But Sunday stiff is our right tackle position. However,
it is.
Wilson was looking
terrible
stiff out there too today.
And we can't talk about the Sunday stiff without talking about the Sunday seat. Who gets the seat who gets to sit next to Mark and I at the table today that played well enough? Mark, who do you have?
I would say J.C. Jackson, Chris, but because of the performance of that secondary, I'm going to say the Patriots secondary. I'm not going to just say J.C. Jackson because I think Phillips played a great game. I'm going to say the Patriots secondary today, Chris, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even though he only had 62 yards rushing, I'm going to say Damian Harris gets to sit with us because after last week,
that's it. There we go.
He took a lot of crap last week for putting that ball on the ground, and my God, he was holding on to it like it was his last breath, today. But he only rushed for 62 yards, but he had that one play at the end. It just showed you, hey, I've shown up. I'm here. I'm ready to go. So again,
that was a highlight reel play.
To me, that was my pick for the Sunday seat, and that was brought to you by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Once again, the Patriots win this game 25-6 in the Meadowlands, New Jersey, New York, whatever. But they go to 1-1, Mark, and now it's time again. As always, he's sitting up there playing right now. I gave you his stats. It was 10 of 15, 129 for 2 TDs.
He just keeps petting them.
Let's go Brady versus Belichick. Here we go, Joe. He's now 14 of 21, 198 for 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. They're up 14-7. So, I mean, Falcons, Atlanta's hanging around in this game, but here he is at 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's on pace for 400 yards in this game, Mark. It's hard to assess him right now.
It's hard to assess him right now.
But give me your thoughts.
Well, it's tough because Brady could end up throwing 6 touchdowns today. We don't know, but I'm gonna go with Brady. I'm gonna go with Belichick today, Chris, just because I think You had to get a win. It was a must-win situation. The coaching staff, we put it on the coaching staff last week. We said that they were the Sunday stiffs, and I think they came out with a much better game plan this week. I still think they need to take the training wheels off a little bit of Matt for Jones. However, I'm going to go with Belichick because he did what he had to do today. He knew he had to win. He had the defense ready to roll. They won. Get some momentum for next week for the New Orleans game. You can win that game. You go 2-1, and you roll into the Tampa game. So I'm going to go Belichick, even though we don't know what Brady's going to finish up with.
Yeah, I am too. Because of a lot of the things you said, and also, I still give them crap for the penalties. They had 6 today, but they cut down a little bit on those. It didn't look like they killed them, but the turnovers, they were good on the turnovers. They put the ball on the ground once, and that's going to be Mac Jones, that maturation process of how you tuck that ball away when you're getting pressure. I don't think he ever got pressure when he was in Alabama. So
Chris,
he's not used to getting hit all the time like that.
I know. Since we're talking about Brady Belichick, I'm just going to throw it on the table quick. How about Brady today playing around this week, kind of playing around? I could play till I'm 50. How about that comment?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was tongue in cheek. I don't know. I mean, we're saying this, but in 2017, we said, we said the same thing.
We're saying it tongue in cheek, but Jesus Christ,
he's not going to play till 40. He's not going to play till 45, and he's going to do that. So, hey, listen, if Brady says he's going to play till 50, who the hell am I to disagree with that, given what he's already done? I mean, look at what he's continuing to
I got to chime in on that because, again, I always say we're the same age, and the way I feel right now, I feel better than I did when I was in high school. It's strong, and you add in all the nice necessities he gets with the bats, the massage, the food he's getting, he's eating, and it doesn't hurt to go back to that young lady he has. But all of that, I'll play till 50. I can feel it. I definitely think he would.
And Mark, he can, and Joe will take the league minimum to play. It'll cost you a lot less.
Joe will take a free sausage and pepper sandwich to go play, for crying out loud.
I'm telling you. And you know what, Joe? Mark and I would take less. Yeah. We take less than that.
You'll take another T-shirt to get out there. He'll take a Patriot T-shirt to go out there.
Yeah, give me a nice T-shirt, a pair of shorts, and I'll get my ass right out there and pad up. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, listen, but I give it to Belichick.
He just threw his third touchdown, by the way.
Okay, then maybe we should end this segment right now.
Yeah, before we get ourselves in trouble, Chris.
Maybe we should end this segment right now before.
But Chris, anyway, would that be something if he played until he was 50 years old? Like I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. That he plays until he's 50. I don't want to go there. But it would.
Yeah, because he'll have played another 9 years that he could have been playing for the Patriots. Are you kidding me? Now he'll go into the Hall of Fame as a Buck.
Oh, that would, Chris. Wouldn't that crush us?
So our whole idea of going there into Canton when he goes in, I won't.
If he's going in as a Buck, I'm not going, Chris.
I don't think they do that anymore. I think they just list the teams. I don't think it's like baseball. I think
no, it's not where they put the hat on. You got to wear the hat, right? Yeah, they don't do that in football. You're right, Chris. They don't.
But baseball, is
did Wade Boggs do that? Was that his? Because
I don't know what Boggs went in with. What did he go in with the Yankee hat on?
Well, he didn't win a championship with the
Tampa Bay, didn't they?
Oh, did he go? He finished his career with Tampa Bay his last year, but
who the hell's
but
going?
I don't know. There was question on whether or not he was going to go in with the Tampa hat.
I think
not the Tampa hat, the Yankee hat.
I think they paid him to do that, and he just took the money. I think that's what was the story.
Oh, okay. All right, you might be onto something there, Joe. That's something to look into.
That's a typical Red Sox move.
Red Sox whipped Wade Boggs.
They said Wade Boggs. He's going as a Yankee. He got the championship with New York.
Wade Boggs.
He got the championship with New York. Wasn't he riding the horse around?
What about the waitress? How about that waitress he was with? Maybe he put her hat on.
He was riding. Wasn't he riding the horse? Running behind on
the horse. He was riding the horse. Yeah.
You got to go in as a Yankee. Well, anyway, listen.
We're off the rails a little today, Chris.
that Brady Belichick segment was presented by Jag Media Productions. Look, everything looks good today, Joe. So Jag Media Productions. So listen, I think it's time. It's time for the Joe's. I think we're we're beating.
That's
wow.
We're beating Joe to the punch. I don't know, Joe. I just
We're on.
gave props.
You know what it is? We're on our game today. Patriots won. We're excited. We got a rookie quarterback. He's going to be the player that we think he's going to be, Chris. I just want a number one receiver.
Yeah, I just gave Jag Media Productions props, and that whistle came through. All right. That's a 2-minute warning, Mark. So, again, we're already at the end. So, wrap it up.
My wrap up, Chris, is I'm happy. I mean, I'm excited. I'm motivated. I feel good about this season. I think we're going to do good things. My prediction before the season started was, what did I say, 11 games? I'm going to stick with the 11 games, Chris. I think we still got a shot to win 11 games. I really do. 11 games. I think we can do it. And if we win tomorrow next week, we're 2-1. We're on our way.
Listen, and for me, I agree with some of that. Man, I hate the fact that we lost that game, especially with Buffalo, what they did to Miami today. But I'll look a little bit ahead to next week is what I'll do. Now, we're going to be doing a Patriots preview of the Saints game on Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field, Saturday. So tune in. But another cheap plug, Joe. But
Also,
my thought on this, Mark, is the secondary. Hey, look, if they can put a kind of performance in like they did today, I want to see Williams play a little better. But if they can do something like that, because they're going to need to with New Orleans. I mean, Winston's throwing the ball over the field. I think last week he had 5 touchdowns. I don't know what his stat line was today. But, Mark, they're going to have to stop the run. I mean, they're going to have to stop the run. If you can't do that, you're screwed. You're screwed. So, again, our wrap-up 2-minute warning was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field, every Saturday. Make sure you tune in. Mark, listen, some people to thank tonight. Want to thank the good people over at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success, specialsaucepodcast.com. Jag Media Productions, again, great performance today, Joe. Studio 42 Designs in North Providence, Rhode Island for all your graphic design needs. Studio42designs.com. Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And Mountain View Home Watch and Security, Scottsdale's leading home watch and security firm. Join us next week as the New Orleans Saints come into town to take on the New England Patriots at 1 p.m. Eastern. Our post-game show will be 30 minutes following that game and every Patriots game. Also, tune in on Saturday to Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field, and we'll be previewing that same game, New Orleans and the Patriots, and, of course, our extremely popular heated hotline. So, for Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. Final score in this one, 25-6. The Patriots take care of the New York Jets. So long, everyone.